If you're considering using Seamless for your cold email campaigns, but you don't know where to start, you are in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you the different features of Seamless, as well as use cases for each of them. That way you can make sure the tool does exactly what you need for your cold email campaigns. My name's Michael, and for over 10 years, I've helped over 500 businesses with cold email, and I'm going to take some of that experience today and help you out when it comes to building lists for your campaigns. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. So what exactly are we going to cover? Well, first, we're going to talk about how you can enrich an existing list with Seamless. One thing they do quite cool is they grab data real time as opposed to pulling from a database that's periodically updated. That is what most list building tools do. The second thing we'll talk about is how to use their Chrome extension. Quickly grab one person's contact. And then the third thing is how to use their contact search, which is their core feature to search based on parameters and get a matching list for your campaign. So we'll go through each of those, and I'll also explain some use cases along the way. So to enrich a list, there's quite a few options depending on what data you happen to have available. Now, for this example, let's go with enrich my email list. So let's assume that you have a list of emails, but you want to learn more about them. What companies they're at, where they're located, what their names are, and what titles there are. We're simply going to go to upload, and we're going to put a CSV. Now, we need to make sure that we have a column titled business email. So I'm going to go to a lead list here. I'm going to make sure it's named business email, which it is. In this case, I also have their website. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and download as a CSV. Once that download is complete, I'll come back over here to Seamless and I will simply drop it in here. Now I'm going to name this, I'm going to call this tutorial 2. Now I can go ahead and enrich my list. This enrichment process is done real time, so there is a slight delay, but for 50 contacts you can see we're already 25% through, and it normally takes me for 50 contacts around a minute. In fact, we can even wait right here and we can see we're already at 80%. Now again, this is not pulling from an old database, it's finding these real time, which is quite unique. Now, previously we only had a list of emails and also websites, but we can see within this enriched list, we now have names, titles, companies, we have phones, socials, and pretty much everything you could want. Now, it's going to give you tons of more points of personalization and also help you understand who your prospect is to prepare for sales calls, to write a personal message, or even to segment them in a broader cold email campaign. And the beauty of enrichment is there's not too much more than that. It's simple. Take a list of emails, put it here, get your contacts. Yes, there's other cool features you can use, but the core product is simple and easy, which is exactly what you want with an enrichment tool. And that's pretty much it for enrichment. Now, the second thing I'm going to show you is how to use their Chrome extension. I absolutely love this. And the way I typically use it is, let's say I have a sales call with somebody and I don't have their business email. I'll just go to their LinkedIn, I'll use the Chrome extension, and I'll grab their contact. Or if I have a sales call with somebody, and let's say they no-show, or it's 5 minutes after their call started, and I haven't heard from them. I've emailed them, they haven't responded. I will use the Seamless extension to go on LinkedIn, to grab their contact, to get their phone number, to then call them and get them to show up on the phone. So this is fantastic when you just need one specific person's information as opposed to a big list. So let's go ahead and hop into my screen share and I'll show you exactly how this works. Here we have Gary Vaynerchuk on LinkedIn, one of my childhood idols. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my extensions here where I've already preloaded Seamless. Let's go ahead and open that up. And I'm just going to run it, which I actually did before this, but essentially I just click find and it will find his email, as well as multiple emails if he has them, as well as the confidence level for those emails, as well as his phone number and address. Now, someone like Gary, who's so big, he probably has hidden email addresses, but I didn't want to just choose some small random person and put them on this video. But I can tell you from doing it on my own profile, all of my information is accurate, and I've tested it with some friends, and it's also been accurate. And I've been actively using this for about 2 months now, and it's been super handy for just finding one contact very quickly. I mean, quite literally, it takes me less than a minute to grab someone's contact, which I do quite frequently. So that's it. Again, another thing that's quite simple because we're not looking for complexity. There's no benefit of complexity. We want something that's really easy that we can use to quickly get data to move on with our life. This shouldn't be a to-do list item. It should be something that makes your day easier, and this certainly does. The next feature we'll talk about is the main feature of Seamless, which is their contact search. Essentially, you have nothing and you want to go ahead and enter parameters that match your ideal customer persona to then build a list of people that match that. There are a ton of filters we can use here. So what I want to do is not just show you the tool, because most of the filters are probably things you have seen. What title is somebody, what city, what country, what industry. But I want to also explain some use cases so you can actually see the value of having a tool that can segment data like this. Let's talk about the first example here. Let's say that we wanted to target e-commerce brands that are already spending money on ads. Maybe we want to sell ads to people, but we want to make sure they already believe in ads and we can scale them up. Maybe we sell user-generated content and somebody that's running ads would value that more. Or maybe we want to do CRO and someone needs to be running ads for it to make sense. Or even email marketing. If they don't have sales coming in, we can't really make money on the back end. So what could we do here? Well, we could just filter by Shopify brands. That's what a lot of people will do. But let's say we want someone that we know cares about marketing and is more likely running multiple ads and putting good money in. We could filter by Hyros. Hyros is an ad tracking tool. So I can go over to Seamless, plug in all my data, look at technologies, and I could plug in Hyros. And that will get me a list of companies that include people using Hyros. Now this won't be relevant here, but I could also exclude a technology. Maybe we don't want to work with people that are already using a technology we help them set up. We could just exclude that. Now obviously I could filter by keywords, for example, fashion or the industry. Maybe I want to go with manufacturing and titles, etc. All the things you expect. But the core thing I want to show here is why would a technology matter? Well, that one little thing gives me a list of people that are going to be higher intent and more likely to buy than if I did not have that feature. And there are a lot of tools that don't have technology filtering. So I'd recommend whenever you look at a tool, consider what tech you want to filter by and make sure they can filter by it. I've actually been quite impressed of how many different tech Seamless does seem to have. And there's certain technologies that other tools don't that Seamless does. So I've been quite content with that. For the next one, let's pretend that we're selling website design and we want to target people that have bad or outdated websites. And let's say we want to target people that are using Wix. Wix isn't bad, however, it's probably not the platform you're going to be using long term. So these businesses are likely in their infancy and they have a reason to upgrade. Now let's do a really specific list here. Let's pretend we're targeting CMOs, marketing managers, only in California, very specific. And we're going to go apparel and fashion industry, companies that are self-led, up to 10 employees, and we're using Wix. Again, this is very specific. Now, why would we want to do this? Again, we know they could upgrade their website. We know they're small, so they probably don't have an in-house team. We know they're in charge of marketing. We even put like owner here, put founder, because at that size, it probably is going to be relevant. So owner, let's plug in founder, and let's plug in CEO. And let's run our search. Now keep in mind, this is only California and only fashion. Here we have our list of contacts. Now, especially if you have a case study that let's say is fashion, this is going to be extra relevant. And then from here, you can go ahead and just export these contacts along with any data you need for your campaigns, whether you're going to be doing cold email, messaging on social media, mailing, or just going to their LinkedIn and adding them. Whatever it is, you can grab the data you need. Now, the next one I'm going to do is let's do a search that's actually for me. I want to target people that are investing in sales and willing to spend money on outreach or sales services. Now, a lot of my clients are in the marketing advertising industry, and if I know they care about sales, they're going to be easier to close. So let's do an example here. Let's say I want people that are using Salesforce. If you're paying for Salesforce, you probably got money, and also you're definitely at least a bit more organized. Employee size, to me, doesn't really matter too much. Let's do self-employed all the way up to 1,000 employees. Then we could say for industry, let's go ahead and do marketing and marketing and media, that's fine. And then let's go to location. I'm going to be targeting all of the United States. And then we could say for titles, I'm fine with the CEO. We could put owner, we could put co-founder, we could put founder, we could put head of sales, we can put head of growth, and let's put CMO. Now, we don't need all these titles necessarily. I'm just putting a bunch that could work for me. And when I actually do search a list, I'll probably put even more, to be honest. So let's search. It'll take a couple of minutes. So again, they do fetch data real time. Now we have almost 30,000 results. And again, if I want to sell these people cold email services, Well, I know that they're either an owner related to marketing or sales. I know where they're based. I know they're in marketing and media, and I also know they're using Salesforce, so at least they have some consideration to sales and they care enough to spend a little bit of money. And honestly, Salesforce, probably more than a little bit, probably a lot of money they are spending. So you can see how these filters let me get a list that's super useful to me. One of the things I like here is obviously you can bulk export, but let's say I just see somebody that catches my interest. Let's say this person, or I'll do a couple. I can just click find, and again, in real time, Seamless will locate their information and grab their contact, which is quite cool. It's not pulling from old database, but it's finding that in real time. And that's one of the main selling points of Seamless when considering it against other tools. So depending on how much you value that, you really want to consider Seamless. And there you have it. That is Seamless. It's a pretty straightforward tool to use, which is a big part of the appeal. If you're not super techy especially, it's nice to have a tool that has a simple interface and data is just a few clicks away. If you want to give it a try, there's a link below to sign up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.